Good afternoon. How y'all doing? What's up? I'm coming to you today. Today's Wednesday. I am talking about discovering your purpose. So, what we want to do is we want to talk about the be, do, and have principle. And we want to make sure that we can break that limiting belief barrier and discover your purpose. So, let's start off with a quick question. I want to ask you what's stopping you? Is it the job? Is it the money? Is it your past? I don't think it's any of those things, right? What I think what's really stopping you is truly what you believe about yourself. The thing is, most people don't believe in themselves, and it's not because they're lazy, it's because they actually think that they're not enough. And the truth is, God has already called you to be enough. Now it's just time to believe him and get started. It's a faith walk, right? The thing I want you to understand is your purpose will start when you stop letting your limiting beliefs speak louder than God's voice. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. And yesterday we talked about Moses. I'm going to be back on Moses today, right? So Exodus chapter 3 and 4. We already talked about Moses yesterday and some of the things that he was refusing to do, how he was being he was delaying his obedience and everything like that. Today we're going to talk about when God told him that he was to go set the people free. What Moses basically did was he gave all of the reasons why he couldn't do it, right? These were all the limiting beliefs that he had. So like, for instance, in Exodus 3 and 11, he was like, hey, God told him, hey, go to Pharaoh, tell them to let my people go. Moses was like, hey, who am I that I should go? He also said, well, what if they don't believe me, right? In Exodus 4:1. Then he came back in verse 10 in that same chapter, Exodus 4, verse 10. He was like, God, I'm not good at speaking. Everything that we just stated here, everything that Moses did was basically just he gave a whole list of limiting beliefs and excuses as to why he could not accomplish something for God. But here is the thing about God. God did not care versus, and also in addition to that, he didn't even argue with Moses. What he said was in Exodus 3:12, I will be with you. That's simple, right? Just because God called you, he doesn't call you, right? And I'll say it this way. He doesn't call you based on what he believes about you. He calls based on what he knows about you. So when he calls, all you have to do is just answer and say yes. Again, I'm back on that what we talked about the last 2 days. He calls, just say yes. He gives you everything you need. He makes sure that the resources are there. Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, God. Then he created the heavens and earth. And he basically, when he did that, he had everything available for man. When man got here, he gave dominion. So just like he gave man dominion, he gave Moses the authority, he will give you the authority. All you have to do is say yes and say, look, God, I will accomplish your will. Just tell me what to do. Right? So now, question. What limiting beliefs have been running your life, right? Maybe you're saying, hey, I'm not smart enough. Maybe you're saying I've made too many mistakes. Maybe you're saying nobody will support me. I can't speak well. I'm too young. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too late to do this. I can tell you right now, all of those are lies. Those are lies, and they're not from God. If the enemy is in your head, this is what they're feeding you to get you to trap your beliefs, right? This is where the enemy is trying to stop you from being who you are called to be, right? So when it comes to the devil, yes, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But here's the fact about the devil when it comes to limiting beliefs. He doesn't have to steal your calling. All he has to do is just convince you that the calling is not yours. Even though, just like I said yesterday, if you are a director being hired by a CEO, that offer letter may be sitting right there that says this job is yours, this is what you get paid, these are your roles and responsibilities. But yet the devil's in your head telling you that this job may not be for you, and maybe somebody else is more qualified, and all of these things, right? He's giving you all these different doubts in your head. If God calls you to it, he will bring you through it. And the way he will bring you through it is he will give you everything you need to make sure that you can accomplish the task that he set before you. Now, let's talk about this. There's 3 points when it comes to the be, do, and have principle. So first one is be. B stands for becoming. We're going to become what God has called us to be. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to overcome the false beliefs that we believe about ourselves. So when it came to Moses, God did not ask Moses to become a superhero. He didn't. Neither is he asking you to become become a superhero. He's not asking you to go out here and save world hunger. He's not. All he's asking you to do is trust him. Remember, we talked about that on Monday. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. God does business with those who know him, like him, and trust him. All God asks for is our trust. You can't walk into your purpose if you believe lies about your identity, right? So Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you are thinking limiting beliefs, then eventually, as long as you think those things and you believe those things to be true, then that's who you become, right? So what we want to do is we want to reverse that to say, hey, look, we want to change our thoughts. We change our thoughts, we're going to eventually change our lives, right? So before you do anything, we want to make sure we become or be the person that God has called us to be. How's that sound? So, action tip right quick. What we want to do is, if we want to change that, what we need to do is we need to say this daily. I am chosen. I am called. I am capable. That's it. Point blank, period. That's it. Point number 2, do. Do is what God has called us to do, right? And the way we need to do that is we need to break the belief barrier and move in faith, right? It's all about movement. It's all about progression. We're moving forward. Yes, that anxiety comes up. We talked about that yesterday, right? God calls us to do something that's uncomfortable. We have to learn how to be, we have to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because God's will is in the uncomfortable. So when that anxiety comes up because it's something that we're not comfortable doing, we have to understand that we have to move in faith instead of sitting back in fear, right? And just letting that anxiety to overtake us. Does that make sense? So here's what happened when Moses finally got out of his own way and decided to just do the things of God. When Moses finally trusted God, he moved, right? He went back to Egypt. He stood before Pharaoh and he did the impossible. All of the Israelites were released. Exodus 4:12 says, now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. Remember I said, if God called you to it, he will help you get through and he will provide everything you need. Remember this point. God qualifies the called. He does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. So some of you guys are sitting still because you're waiting to be ready. You're trying to do all these things to make sure that says, hey, before I go do this thing, I got to make sure that I do this, and I got to make sure I prepare that, and I got to make sure that this signs off. I need to fast. I need to pray. I need to do all these extra things to make sure that I'm good. But in the end, it's all the things that you're trying to do, and it's not anything that God has told you to do. So God is only asking you to be willing. So break that barrier. Take that first step. Do it. Even if you are afraid, do it. Nike has a phrase that says, just do it. Just do it. If God calls you to it, just do it, right? Do it anyway. So now, point number 3, have. What have means is we want to have what God says is ours, right? So what we want to do is we want to receive what God has already promised us. This is a covenant, right? This is a covenant. This is a contract. If God is telling us to do something, this is a contract. If we do what he says, then he will basically allow us to have what it is that he said we should have, right? So here's the thing. When Moses obeyed, those people were set free. Moses didn't just do something. He fulfilled his purpose. Jesus said in John 10:10, I have come that they may have life and they may have it more abundantly. Here's the thing about more abundantly, right? Abundant living does not come from waiting. It does not come from wishing, and it definitely doesn't come from whining. It comes from believing. And from believing, it takes action of faith, right? Faith without works of obedience is dead. You are wasting your time if you're declaring, you're prophesying, you're fasting, you're doing all this, but yet you have not taken any action, right? If you have not taken any action, you're wasting your time. Being comes from being who God called you to be. It's doing what God has called you to do so you can have what God has promised you to have. Make sense? That is pretty much my message for today. So I have a call to action for you all. This is a very short one for today. Here's the action for this message. If you have a limiting belief, call that thing out. Do it immediately. Write down that lie that you have believed about yourself. I'm not good at this. I don't think I'm the best at this. I'm not good at these things, right? Then what I want you to do is I want you to find a scripture that tells you the truth. Number two, what I want you to do is, starting tomorrow morning, start with this declaration. I am who God says I am. I can do what God has called me to do, and I will have what God promised me. Point number three, when you pray, ask God this in prayer. Lord, help me to believe that you are more than what I believe in my fear. I'm going to say it again. Help me to believe that you are more than what I believe in fear. Guys, you don't have to be stuck anymore. Your purpose is on the other side of what you believe. All I'm asking you to do is be bold, just do it, and watch God help you have what he wants you to have. Sounds good? Y'all have a great day. Let's get to it.